writing through the pain. As my tears, they touch the page. They blur the ink like the line between friendship and fate. But it's worth it because you've probably felt the same. Have you? Have you ever loved someone who made you enjoy dwelling in the rain? Someone who every time your phone screen lights up, you'll want to see their name. Someone who leaves you lost for words when usually words are your forte. Someone who you trust so disorientedly you want to get lost with them over and over again. Someone who, to see that smile that makes you brace yourself, you would gently brush away all of their pain. Someone who makes you want to expand on the capacity and the knowledge of your brain. Someone who you know, deep down, will never love you the same. He makes me feel like I'm his when he speaks my name. I mean, it could just be the way I'm hearing it. He isn't to blame. Let's face it, he probably does say every other person's name with the same voice. I forgive any of his actions to keep on the receiving end of his reactions. I replace other people's time for his interaction because he's a profound distraction. I try focusing on a positive outcome to encourage the law of attraction, but it's infiltrated with negativity as I convince myself I am not to his satisfaction. I am painfully conscious of my every move and every stereotypical overreaction. Being good enough for yourself, I like to think that can be taught. Being good enough for someone else is not a battle that should ever be fought, but if he asked me to be his bag for life, I would. I'd hold his baggage and he'd use me over and over again because love hurts this good. I cheat myself out of my own time and energy. I remember when it was 6 p.m. and sleeping was a future gift, and now it's 3 a.m. and I'm wondering who unwrapped it and threw it into the pile of unwanted shit. I've spent hours replaying our last encounter and analysing every bit, questioning whether life's getting me back for the people I've hurt because I wasn't ready to commit. I'm shuffling through my moonlit thoughts, filing them in the appropriate places, but running out of room for them all to fit. This is so much more than logic and nowhere near common sense. I feel like the only thing that would help me sleep is the comfort of his natural scent. Fast forward to the weekend, and I'm hanging out with my friend. The soundtrack to our evening is Arctic Monkeys' Mardy Bum because he says I've got a face on. I'm wishing it was I Wanna Be Yours and that he was serenading me with some kind of light-hearted allure, but I know the most appropriate tune would be Snap Out of It because if someone doesn't grab my shoulders and shake, I am never going to quit. I might be putting 1 and 1 together and coming up with 11, but I'll take it if the answer means we're side by side. I'm not shy. But he's making me question whether these are emotions that I should hide. He makes me feel like without him I would die, but when I'm with him, like I've never felt so alive. How will we want strangers when before him I can't remember my life, and the thought of a future without him makes my depression do a nosedive. I watch films I would never watch and don't pay any attention, then pray he doesn't lose the storyline and ask me a question. He'll clock the lead and exclaim, "She's fit," and although I probably agree, I'm just wishing he'd said it about me. I mean, he's open and he feels his feelings with me, but I guess that's because I'll share with anyone given a mic, a stage and some company. How can he complete me and I not complete him? When I thought of love, I'd have seen red or pink, and now the colour of his eyes seeps in. He is the flame and I am the wax. The brighter he burns, I just melt against the glass. If we can sing like losers at the top of our lungs on the first car ride, how is this not already a work of art and a one-off find? I have never been into astrology, but I'm reading both our star signs, only believing it when it sounds like our stars are perfectly aligned. I'll say, "There's a gig this week, we should try and get tickets." He's like, "I'm not really feeling it." I'm like, "Yeah, me neither. I don't know why I mentioned it." When the pain hits, it's like the borrowers have snuck into my chest and they're pulling at different sides of my heart, causing distress, each giving instructions from within of what I should do. He's not worth it. You're gonna get hurt. He probably feels the same as you. Am I in love? Or am I in love with the idea of being in love with him when really I want to rip off his clothes with lust, but I don't want to be labelled a slut, so I'm using love as a pseudonym. I look at him. He's already looking at me. He looks away. I try, but my eyes fixate. The background noise whittles down to only the beating of my heart, and I can feel it's beating in time to his, even if he can't. The borrowers are shrieking that giving it back to the rightful tenant and evicting him is smart, but how can a connection between two only be felt on one part? The only thing in focus is him. And questions of, was it a coincidence, or did he mean to look too? Can he sense that my eyes haven't yet moved? Everything is still. Everything except my butterflies giggling over the prospect of romance, over the prospect of that look being more than just a well-timed glance. I've never felt peace like I have in his eyes, and now I'm in a trance. His eyes drew in my heart in pencil, and rather than seeing it as temporary, I thought I saw potential. My girlfriends will say it's his loss, but I know it's mine, because if he could see what he was doing to my heart and my mind, he wouldn't think it was fine. He would think he crossed a line, and he'd say, I'm sorry, I should have read the signs. The emotion comes in waves, and like a wave to the shore, he washed over me unconsciously, shifting pieces of me to suit him until I didn't recognise me anymore. My heart is sweating from all its hard work. The borrowers are singing under the shower to REM, Everybody Hurts. I want to cry, but then he'll ask why, and I'll have to lie and say I'm hormonal, it's just that time. And then he'll comfort me with his skin on mine, and I'll lose more control than when I caught his eye. I used to wear my heart on my sleeve as though unblemished and brand new. But recently I've rolled them up from the last time it broke in two. I'm willing him to come over to help me unravel them, spread warmth over my goosebump skin and make me risk feelings of yes, but he isn't him. How do I feel safe with him when I've given him the ability to hurt me more than anything? Discovering him was like discovering a whole new language, an unspoken one, and not one I could teach to anyone else, not even him. Not even after this long. He is the sun and I am a shadow, which is to say to him I unintentionally belong. I sing those car ride songs in the shower like a fool, and I rehearse our conversations to the doorframe because it has a bit more substance than a flat wall. How can an elbow or a fingernail be perfect, or a person be the perfect amount of tall? And although the way he dresses isn't to everybody's taste, I think his fashion no sense is pretty cool. Me pretending to act naturally has got me looking like a real oxymoron. So is trying to articulate something that can only be felt but I can't stop going on. I worry when we're not talking in case he's talking to someone else, for one, and for two because I need to know he's safe. I can't stand the thought of him suddenly being gone, and I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm putting all my eggs in his basket so that when he takes it to the checkout my heart can be spent. And I'm asking for a refund even though I'm not the one with the receipt and the purchase was made with my consent. I dared to dream of something that I would never wake up to, but love doesn't know boundaries of waiting until it's reciprocated, it just seizes you. Why would he want me if when he looks at me, he sees himself? Because he's all I believe I am now, and he already loves him. He doesn't need me to show him how. He's gonna break me into tiny pieces of a puzzle, and I'll rebuild with the outer edges first, making my way to the centre, hoping it becomes clearer despite the struggle. When you get feelings like this, you agree to lose all grip on reality, hoping they catch you before you slip and fall. I want to learn about him every day and be allowed to explore, but I gave so much of me straight away. He doesn't need to know more. I don't know my heart anymore. I only know ours, and although we've only been in the same room for the last 20 minutes, all these thoughts racing around have made it seem like hours. My butterflies begin to morph back into caterpillars, and the borrowers are digging a grave in my heart to bury the ideal of us before I have the chance to become bitter. It takes a while to heal when you put your heart on the line and someone crosses it. I'm grateful he's pushed me to be so much more than I already was, and on many occasions been the reason that I didn't quit. But now, I want to be what he is to me, to someone else. And that is a lot to ask. He was never mine. It's time for me to take a step back. And still, I'm looking at him. He looks at me. I look away. Am I in the right place? But how can a connection between two? I'm willing him to come over to help me unravel them. And I'll rebuild with the outer edges first, make my way to the centre. I try focusing on a positive outcome to encourage the law of attraction, but it's infiltrated with negativity as I convince myself I am not to his satisfaction. Being good enough for yourself. Fuck, that was wrong. From the beginning. Do you know how much of a killer it is going wrong on a 10-minute poem and then having to go all the way back to the beginning? Because if you edit this, you can tell. I'm talking. There's no one in the room. I'm talking to the camera. Why am I talking? Writing through the pain. He makes me feel like without